what's up? It's your grown woman on the move, Osiris, in our beautiful location at Topanga Canyon. It's so lovely. I wish you were here with the hummingbirds. It's so nice. And we are so fortunate to have this man is one of my heroes. I don't know if you have a hero, but I certainly have one. He's been with me through thick and thin. He's seen me grow, and I've seen him become the amazing icon he is, Mr. Foster Corder. He is a videographer, cinematographer, director, writer, producer, all of those things. He's all of that and more. So let's talk to Foster about his background. I know he had a history with Wilt Chamberlain, Nina Simone. Everybody knows who Nina Simone is. And we want to talk to him about his latest venture, his projects, and about his knowing Rudy Ray Moore, a.k.a. Dolemite. Hey, Foster, say hey.
Hey, Cyrus, how are you?
I'm good.
With the introduction like that, folks, you know, I'm done. There's nothing for me to say. That's wonderful.
Oh, he's being modest. So let's talk to Foster a little bit about, bring him up to present time and go back just a little bit. If Nina were alive, what would she say about the current administration? Because I know she was an activist. And what would she say about the arts community, the community of art and entertainment? What would she say about her vision of where it's going or where it could go?
Well, I think that Nina she'd be excited about the times. I mean, these are good times for someone. Nina was an activist, so she would hate the administration, no doubt about that, because it's blatant, racism going on. She would be heavily involved in trying to stop the attitude towards the police of, black men. So she would probably get involved with Black Lives Matter and other organizations like that. And there's more media now, with cable and everything. So she'd be a voice like she was then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Possibly have her own Netflix show by now. Anyway, and Mr. Wilt Chamberlain, what would he think of the whole thing? Well, he's a basketball player, but he was also political, wasn't he?
Wilt was, well, the thing with Wilt was he was an activist, but he was more behind the scenes activist. He did a lot with Martin Luther King. Him and Coretta and Martin were really, really good friends, because Wilt was basically your Michael Jordan and LeBron at that time. So he was involved, but Wilt had so many things that he did that people didn't know about, to promote, people of color and make things better. But again, we'll go into that.
Yeah.
Wilt was a activist also, but more behind the scenes. He gave to a lot of things. He supported him, and Martin Luther King and Coretta were really, really good friends. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't know, but they held Martin Luther King's funeral up for Wilt because his plane was late for him to get there.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how close him and Coretta and Martin were. But yeah, and Wilt would be doing this same old thing, He'd have
chasing the girls.
Yeah, he would have Omarosa and whatever that other press secretary.
The press secretary.
Yeah, the one that quit.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So let's bring up to speed. I know you've got quite a few projects. I am particularly in love. He has a project, you guys, that he has many projects. Well, one of them that I like, and then we'll talk about another one that's very close to him, that involves Rudy Ray Moore. One of the projects is a project about a film about dogs and dogs and how they're treated, not only by other human beings, but how they're treated when they are in fact with no owners and left with no place to go. And he has a project about that he can mention briefly, but more so, I know Eddie Murphy is doing a film on the life of Rudy Ray Moore, aka Dolemite, for those of you that have lived long enough to know who that is. And you are directly involved with him. I know that you were one of the last people to speak to him before his number got called and he passed over.
Right.
So let's talk about what it is Eddie's trying to do, how far it is away from who Rudy Ray Moore is, or how close it is to Rudy Ray Moore and his story, but especially his influence upon you and why you are some of the greatness that you have, why you have those things.
Right. Well, First of all, I don't know. I know the premise of what they're doing, what Eddie is doing, and it's Dolemite is my name. It's supposed to be about Rudy and his early career, making the records to make the movies. But, you know, I know Rudy Ray Moore better than probably anybody alive today. I was with him for 20, 25 years. I managed him for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
We traveled. I produced 4 of his movies. I directed 2. We four-walled around the country, 2 or 3 of his films, I forget, but him and I, starting out, and this is a Prince, and we would get from Deluxe in the trunk of his Cadillac and go to Houston and with one print and play it in the theater, and then play, you know, get that money, send it back to Hollywood, get another print made. The next week we would play it in the theater and downtown, and then after we got 3 prints, and we would move to another city and we would play it downtown, in the drive-in, and in the neighborhood, you know, and how to promote them and all that. I learned a lot from Rudy Ray Moore. Nobody consulted me on the movie that Eddie is doing, which, you know, I mean.
And I would think that they would look for people that actually knew the man to make it as authentic as possible.
But now you're talking about respect. And black and white and those kind of things. It's like nobody's involved in that production that is of people of color. Nobody black. Is the director is white, the producers are white, the writers are white, and Eddie's in front of the camera. But that's the, you know, history of Hollywood. But if they were doing a movie, and the reason I say respect, if they were doing a movie about World War II, right? They would consult and research the war and find people who were in the war, find people who were generals in the war.
Yeah, it's authentic.
You know, people, and if they were doing a movie about space, you would consult with NASA. You would do certain amount of research that you would do to just pay tribute to what you're doing to make sure you're doing it right. So. You know, I mean, I think Eddie Murphy is one of the greatest actors to ever come down the pipe. But I think the way that him and the people he's associated with are approaching this is just totally wrong, no doubt about it. But for me, Hercules. You should have got an Academy Award for that.
And if we're wrong about that, I'd love to hear from anybody out there that has any different opinion or knows something that we may not know about what's going on with that particular production. But I do know that this man sitting here is an authority on Rudy Ray Moore and his life, and was very, very close to him.
Yeah.
Now, I know also that you were coming from where you come from, being the first black man to be involved and become the director of the video department for Capitol Records. Am I correct?
Correct.
Coming from there to now, you just made a statement about you don't know about the production. What would you differently? Because I know that Beyonce, I believe Issa Rae from Insecure, the show, I know they all demand that they have people of color on that set.
That's a wonderful thing, and I praise them. I take my hat off to them. I bow down. You know, it's like that's what needs to happen. You know, but the problem is this. Just like they're saying Oscar's so white, right? Well, the emphasis is being put in the wrong places. First of all, because they're talking about the actor in front of the camera or the director. That's one job, 2 jobs maybe. The emphasis should be put on behind the scenes, behind the camera. When you have actors like Denzel, Will Smith, and on, you know, Morgan Freeman, everybody, right? Those movies, because there was a time when they said black people can't lead in movies. Black films don't sell well overseas, right? Well, now that we have achieved that certain amount of power, you can't just be happy because you get your check for a couple of $1 million for being in front of the camera. You should be, when the credits roll on a Will Smith movie, on a Denzel movie, there's 5 minutes of credits. 300, 400, 500 jobs. It's a shame. It may be 20 black people. Though that's where the tuition, that's where the car notes, that's where the mortgage payments, that's where all of that stuff is at in those 300 names. You see, because then You know, I mean, when you look at post-production, I mean, look at production support. How many people of color, Latins and African Americans and Asians, do you know who have contracts with the studios that have grip trucks and catering and all of these different
None,
things?
I don't think they can even afford it.
Well,
can
there's
they?
some, I mean, no, I mean, I'm not going to talk about me, so, I mean, because I have, you know, grip and electric, you know, trucks.
But you're saying a lot of them start out disadvantaged because they don't even know what to have.
Well, for instance, it's because that's what a power is. You have to be able to have access, and then you grow. Like, just like I started, and I can say I started and worked with Antoine Fuqua, F. Gary Gray. Antoine Fuqua is the director of Equalizer and a bunch of other stuff. F. Gary Gray directed Fast and Furious 6. I gave these guys a shot when they could not get arrested in the very beginning of their career, and you can ask them, text them, send them, tweet them, ask them, Foster Quarter, who is it? I mean, but I made it a point because I was the first to have access in the music video business when you couldn't melt a black director down and pour him on a music video and or ad agency. Johnny Simmons and I started Blackbird Films. There were no people of color or Latins or females making commercials, you know, and we started Blackbird Films, and we had Gordon Parks, Bill Duke, Stan Lathan, on and on, and we did McDonald's, Coca-Cola, California Lotto, 3-Day Plunge Lotto first, and we gave opportunities to people, makeup artists. One of the biggest makeup artists, African-American female makeup artists in Hollywood today, got started with Johnny and I at Blackbird Films. That's how she was able to put makeup on B.B. King and different, because we did McDonald's for B.B. King and stuff. So I think we can't be afraid to look around and see a bunch of people that look like you on the set, because I promise you, nobody else is. When you see the Italian stars, the German stars, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, wherever, it's natural, you know, for people to be comfortable. But like, for some reason, black people aren't comfortable.
And they go get your knees. You know
around.
my phone.
Right.
You come over and help me.
Right.
You do a little bit of work,
you know,
I pay you.
Yeah, and I mean, so it's like, that's what I think needs to happen. I mean, just because Dolemite and I had a lot of talks, and I mean, you asked me what would I do in the movie. I'm not going to say, because I have my own Dolemite stuff that I'll do later, but what they're missing in the movie is what Rudy's really inside thoughts. Yeah, who the man was, you know. You can make a joke out of anybody, and you can tell anybody's life, but is it real? Is it the truth? Is it, what would Rudy say right now about that? You know, because now, this is the other point I want to make, which is very important.
We're getting short on time.
This is the most important. If you take away the irony of Eddie Murphy doing Dolemite Is My Name is this. For many, 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 many years, Rudy Ray Moore would say to me, Quarter, and I'm doing it in my Rudy voice, why don't Eddie call me? He knows I'm out here. Why don't he put me in one of his movies? Eddie Murphy would not urinate on Rudy Ray Moore when he was alive. And now the irony of it is he's doing his movie. I think that's, I think it's sad. I mean, in terms,
kind of like spiritually kind of imbalanced.
Yeah, I mean, well, universally it's just whack. I mean, I know, I'm happy he's doing it because it'll heighten Rudy's awareness to people that may not have known him, and the people who did know him and enjoyed his comedy, all of his, in his movies, all of his life, would appreciate it. And again, it's not a person. Eddie is a wonderful actor. I've loved what he does, but you know, you missed out on an opportunity to know the man when he was alive, Eddie. So, you know, you take that with you. I mean, and also imagine when you die, who gonna do the Eddie Murphy story? Some little white boy.
Now on that note, you guys, Mr. Murphy, Mr. Quarter has called you back. He loves you. But if you want to get the story right on Mr. Rudy Ray Moore, you need to talk to somebody with it up close and personal. Like,
well, it's too late. It's a done deal.
Here.
It's a done deal. We'll see what happens on Netflix, you know. And I mean, again, I wish him the best. I love Rudy. I love Eddie Murphy. But, you know, I'm 60-something years old, and I have to tell the truth.
And fabulous.
I have to call it like it is, baby, you know. So thank you so much for having me.
But look, people, we got to go. Now, where can we find out more about what you're doing, Foster? Let's hear your websites, your social media.
Just Google.
Google Foster Quarter. That's
Quarter. C-O-R-D-E-R, like tape recorder.
And your production company?
Daughters to Feed.
I love that name. Daughters to Feed Productions, Foster Quarter. He's on Facebook. I know you can find him online.
Yeah.
If you Google and you really want to know some stuff,
I can't get away.
look it up. Also, don't forget to check us out on 15 Minutes to Show on YouTube. Go to the website, www.entertainment, that's A-N-K-H, the word entertainment, the word one.net. Hit the top button that says YouTube, and it'll take you right into our 15-minute show channel. It's been a wonderful thing. We're going to say something to Foster once again.
I'm going to say subscribe.
And subscribe. Subscribe to our channel. We got some interesting stuff, you guys. How cool is this? We like doing interesting things, not the same old boring Hollywood stuff, okay? So if you want to hear some really cool stuff, get down to some people that really know their stuff, then check out our show. And we're going to say goodbye to Foster.
Yeah.
We look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Absolutely.
About some of your projects.
Actually, two things. My YouTube channel is Foster's Animal World TV, which we'll get into another if you have me back, which is all about my animal life, which is my other half.
And you guys know you love pets out there. You know you do.
And I have Rudy Ray Moore's last interview on my Foster Quarter YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's Foster's Last Talk with Rudy.
Okay. Foster's Last Talk with Rudy on his YouTube channel. Don't forget also to follow him on his Animal Lovers channel Foster's Animal World TV. All right. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye. It's been another 15 minutes. We love you. Bye. Bye.